As you work in GeoGebra, your steps are recorded. Under the edit, you have the usual undo and redo. Shortcuts are Command Z and Shift Command Z. On the document itself, you have undo and redo buttons in the upper right corner. And also under View, Navigation Bar for Construction Steps, you get to see a new set of buttons that can take you forward or backward through the creation of your graphs. If I rewind all the way back to step 0, I have a completely blank document. I can incrementally increase the 4 steps used to create this piecewise graph. If you want to fast forward all the way to the beginning, this button takes you back to step 1, and one more backward step gives you a completely blank grid. So to make a piecewise, I decided to draw a parabola with a restricted domain. Double clicking here shows you the formula. If x is less than 3, comma, draw the parabola x minus 2 squared. The next step was to draw a linear, and again, my restriction is if x is greater than 3, I want to draw the line x minus 1. Both of those if commands were entered down here in the input box. To finish the piecewise, I drew an open circle at the point 3, 1, right here, defined as A, and a closed circle at 3, 2, defined up here as B. Again, you can change the look of a point by double clicking on the point, going to Object Properties, Style, Point right there. If I rewind all the way back to the beginning, I have a blank slate and I can play through these to demonstrate to a class. If I want to make 2 minor changes, I'd like to have this line not go through the center of the circle of point A, and I'd also like to restrict the domain of my linear function. So I go to the linear function, double click, and enter in a second restriction, you type shift and let's say I wanted the x values to stay below 5. So by saying if x is greater than 3 and x is less than 5, I get the line that starts at 3 and ends at 5. I would need to add the point at 5, 4, so down here I'll call point C, capital C, equals 5, 4. And I don't need the name showing, so I'll double click, Object Properties, Basic, Show Label to turn that off. Final thing is the parabola line goes halfway through the circle shown at point A, and I'd prefer not to have it do that, so I'll have to change the endpoint of my parabola to something just short of 3, maybe 2.97. That looks better. So now if I rewind back to the beginning, I can display the steps again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I modified some of the objects, the steps are now in the wrong order. To fix that, under View, Construction Protocol. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the steps created, and since the parabola was the last thing to be edited, it's now the last thing in the order. I'd like to change it around. I would like to draw the 2 functions first and then add the points. To rearrange the order of things, just grab the number and move it to a different location. I take function F and move it up to the first spot, which it won't let me, so I'll drag number 1 down to the second spot, and that'll flip-flop those 2. I'll move 4 up to the second spot. I now have the parabola drawn first, straight line drawn second, and then points A, B, and C in order. I have buttons here to go through the steps to double check. Parabola first, line second, open circle, close circle, looks good. I'll close the construction protocol. I'll keep these navigation buttons on the screen, and if I wanted to hide them, View, Navigation Bar for Construction Steps, but I don't want them. And instead of manually clicking through, I can go all the way back to the beginning and click on a play button. That adds a new piece every 2 seconds. You can change the time down here. I think that's pretty good, so I'll save this and it's ready to use in class.